It took me a little longer to start again because after I got cut off, I ended up getting a phone call and talking for a little while, so that was nice getting a birthday phone call. As for the Taps app, where I was going with that it was pretty nice. They have a Genie Wish thing going on right now, where if you comment on their, I don't know if it's bots or actual staff or Taps that runs the program, but genies will be reading the comments and possibly giving cards out to randomly selected people who ask for retired cards or current cards, I should say. Well, I put something on there about pretty much anything would be cool because it's my birthday and I'm spending it alone. So, I wasn't expecting anything back from other random people because usually with the Disney Taps apps, it doesn't seem like anyone's, at least most of the ones I ran into on the app haven't been super friendly. I mean, they're not downright mean, but they usually expect if you trade, for example, that they get more cards than what you get back. So, I wasn't expecting any birthday trade offers for a random, pretty common card, but someone did send me a trade request with the message happy birthday, and they had picked a random card from the really common cards. The tier 1 card or tier 2 card, I can't remember. Anyways, they picked one of those cards and then they gave me like 5 different 101 Dalmatian cards. So that was pretty cool. Usually with regular trades, previous to this, I've had more luck with the Marvel app, which they seem to more want to be even. And I haven't noticed it on there, but on the Disney app, there also is people that have community accounts where they'll collect cards to trade back with other people and help people get their collections growing, but you have to, with them, it's usually, for example, if you're doing the tiers, it has to be the same tier, because there's like 1 through 9 or something like that, and 1 being the most super common cards you can get. And so with them, if you request a couple tier 1 cards, for example, say you're newer and trying to build your collection up, you would have to still give more cards than you were getting back. So, for example, say you pick 2 cards, you might have to send 4 or 5. Usually around 4. Sometimes 5 if it's better cards, depending on the user still. But I've been able to still manage to build my collection that way, because sometimes when there's certain sets, because they have sets that are out that'll be common, uncommon, rare, super rare, like that are not the regular tier cards. And for those, a lot of the times, I get a bunch of the same ones. And if I want to finish a set, which you get little awards and stuff for finishing sets, I could trade with them and do it. So usually with that, I'll ask for 1 or 2 cards, sometimes 3 or 4, but I'll always fill out what they get in return, and that helps me because then I give off cards that I already have that I don't really want a bunch of the same ones that could also be something someone else still needs. So they have a better chance of finding it, because sometimes regular people on there just won't trade something that's a common card. But for example, if you're looking on completing sets, you could just have this one common card that you just can't seem to pull out of the packs. And every time you go to try to trade with people, they're like, no, I'm not trading that. And they'll either decline the trade, or they will trade it, but they'll trade it to someone else, so then the trade or offer you gave will be voided because they won't have that card anymore. For example, if they just have one. Or they have two and they end up trading both for other people. So, it can be a pain to finish some of the sets. Of course, it's like real life trading cards. Some are sometimes easier to complete your sets than others. And another thing is with them being virtual cards, it can be easier to find trade partners. For me, with real trading cards, especially nowadays, I cannot find people to trade with. So, if I want to build my collection, I just have to keep buying packs or buy from individual people to improve my collection. So, that can be a pain sometimes, but it is what it is. Most people that are into physical trading cards that are adults have a lot of money they put into it, so they can pretty much buy the cards they want. So if you're someone trying to just find certain cards for your collection and don't have a lot of money, they might not be as interested in trading. So there's that, I guess. Other than the laptop and the 3DS problems, which are still kind of first world problems, not gonna lie, I have to try and look at the positive for a few things. Even though I'm having to take a shower more than once a day if I want to not be sticky and icky from the humidity, is I do have a roof over my head. I have shoes on my feet. I have clothes that fit me. I have enough food. Right now I don't have the most flavorful drinks, but I do have cool water that I'm keeping in the fridge, so that's nice at least. I have plenty of food right now. I do have a rabbit for companionship for the moment. Even though he's not mine, he's pretty cool when he wants to be. He's a little character, which, if you've been around any kind of animal, you know they usually have their own personalities. They might not be able to talk and converse with you like a person would, unless you're like Antonia Madrigal or something, or Dr. Dolittle, but you can still kinda get around help I could talk, communication barriers to some degree. Because even though a rabbit or a cat or a dog can't speak English or Portuguese or Chinese or Japanese or Spanish or Italian or German or Russian or what have you, they can still communicate to you their wants and needs by their body language or by touch. For example, If you've been around cats, you may notice a cat will kind of paw at you if it's an outdoors-indoor cat, if they want to go outside. A dog might bring you a leash if they want to go for a walk and nudge your hand with the leash in their mouth. A rabbit may come up to you when they want some attention from you, or they want you to feed them. They may not be able to verbally say, hey, I want this right now, but they can use body language to hint at it, or get the message across. For some things, it can be harder to tell. I've seen videos where people will, for example, be messing with a cat and they think it's funny the cat is wagging their tail. That is a sign of a not very happy cat. So if your cat is wagging their tail at you, it doesn't mean they're happy like a dog would be. It means they're probably gonna put up with your shenanigans for a little bit longer and then strike out if they can't run away. Because most cats don't actually want to get violent with people, but like any other animal, if they feel backed in a corner, they're gonna be like, okay, I've had enough, I can't get away from you, so I don't know what that sound was for. That was a weird sound, but yeah, you get the idea. Now I'm rambling again. It is now 10:02 p.m. and I'm almost out of time. Now that I've talked and talked and talked. But, thank you if you've listened this far. I appreciate the support. If you'd like to hear more from me, I'll try to keep it a little shorter next time. And sorry I got a little off track going on about animals and stuff, but it's better to talk about that than miserable feelings for me. But I try to stay positive, but just like anybody else, there are gonna be things in my life that I'm not happy with. Nobody has the perfect life, and it can be hard to remember that. Of course, I went over some of the things that were bugging me that were first world problems. There's some other things that are bugging me that I don't really want to get into that are more serious, but like I've said before, I don't want this channel to be me putting my negativity out there. I want to keep the negativity, change it into positivity, and I want to share the good stuff with you, unless it's something I really can't help but talk about. For example, if I was to be in a car accident or something, then I probably would talk a bit more about that, because I don't know, maybe that's just human nature. But I have more serious problems than a switch charger not charging anything anymore, or a computer not working right. But I don't really want to get into those things, because the smaller things are more comfortable to talk about for me than the bigger issues. But in my own life, I am trying to work on those bigger issues. So hopefully things will change. Hopefully tomorrow will be even better. And yeah, now that I'm rambling again, another thing with the wish list is a couple days before my birthday. My sister ended up posting that and telling people on Facebook they could check that out to send me a gift if they wanted, because my birthday would be today. And so even though I wasn't expecting anyone to buy anything off that list, I did end up editing the list to try and get better items on there. By better, I mean price-wise, because if you have an Amazon wish list, you usually have to keep a watch on it because prices fluctuate so much. So, for example, you could have something on there one day that's for like $5, and then the next day it's like $50, and that could be because the $5 one's all sold out, and the next seller up has just $50 on theirs. I mean, that's a random and maybe a little exaggerated, but you get the general idea. It depends on what's available and what the sellers put on their items for prices. Also, sometimes you could have stuff on your wish list that end up being taken off because, well, not taken off, they'll still be on there, but won't be able to be purchased because the item is now out of stock. So, yeah. I don't think anyone's actually purchased anything off there. I haven't actually snooped, but I'm guessing it was so close no one's going to. Maybe I'll be lucky and they will have gotten, have seen the message and at least send me a birthday card, which would be cool. Because right now, I'm trying to stay positive and upbeat and not feel like nobody cares. Because that's been one of my big issues I've been keeping under the surface. And really, it's not true, but that's how the monster of depression works. You just feel things that are not true, and you have to fight with those feelings that are not really based on truth. I mean, sometimes, you may have seen it in a movie before, a person will be going along, or maybe it'll be an anamorphic animal, whatever, and their family and friends are busy with day-to-day stuff, aren't really focused on that character. So when the character starts feeling uncared about or unloved, and then, of course, it ends up coming out. The family or friends or what have you may feel bad about that, and then start working on trying to correct it. But sometimes people can feel like that in real life. And it can be hard to think, yeah, well, all my friends have jobs, all my friends have this going on. It's understandable they're not always available. But sometimes it just feels more isolating when it's been a year or longer and you haven't heard from them. And for example, my one friend, for example, who I've stopped even trying to reach out to, is always on their Facebook complaining